All right, everyone. Welcome. Everybody in Zoom land, welcome. We have a few people here in person as well. My name is Denise Reagan. Welcome to Horticulture Corner Show winners. So these are the winners of the 2023 Jacksonville Fair Horticulture Show. We're so excited to be presenting this today. Everybody who's here in person gets a ticket to the Jacksonville Fair. I'm sorry, all those of you at home who won't get one. Very sorry, but and really we probably have enough for everybody to get 2 tickets, so that's really exciting. All right, my name is Denise Reagan. I'm the Executive Director of the Garden Club of Jacksonville. With me today is Corinne Lightfoot, our Marketing and Membership Manager, and also DeWitt Cooper, who's one of our event ambassadors running the bar tonight. I want to thank all the Garden Club members who have joined us today. If you're a member, please raise your hand. We got a lot of members here today, and I know that there's several members on Zoom as well, so you can raise your hand virtually. If you're not a member of the Garden Club, please chat with someone from our staff or one of the folks who raised their hand today, so that you can find out more about being a member. I'd also like to thank all the Board of Trustees members who are with us here today. We have Stephen Stanton and Michelle Villasenor. I got it right, it's so hard. So thank you for being here as well. All right, I want to tell you about a couple of programs coming up. First is Luminaria Festival, Homegrown and Handmade. That's on December 10th. We're going to celebrate Luminaria Night with Riverside Avondale, and we'll have a holiday shop of handcrafted items in our ballroom. We'll have some pop-up presentations. We have a special budding gardeners going on that day. We have Go Tuck In light tours, and those tickets are selling fast. So if you haven't gotten one, get yours fast. We'll have music, we'll have a bar, we'll have games. It'll be really fun that night. So December 10th. Also, we have our designer distinction coming up in January, and this is so cool because this man is from San Antonio, Texas, Andy Hopper. He's going to do an in-depth presentation and floral demonstration called Bringing Out the Designer in You. He'll construct and share several designs that reflect the wide range of work that he does with Bloom's Design Studio by HEB in Texas. That's a big what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, a big chain in Texas. He's a professional consultant who does work like this throughout the world. So tickets are available now. We also have our big program coming up in February called Reduce, Reuse, Recycle. It's the power of rethink what we throw away. You're going to learn about the myriad ways we can keep waste out of the landfills. And then just a couple of heads up about some things coming up later in the 2024. We have the flea market, February 23rd and 24th. If you haven't been to the flea market before, you are totally missing out. So put that on your calendar and get ready to come shop and keep things out of the landfill. And then our big Blooms Galore and More, our plant sale that takes over our entire campus. That's April 5th and 6th. So mark your calendar for that as well. All right, now I'd like to introduce our speaker for the evening. Aline Clement has been a master gardener for more than 16 years. In that role, she helps conduct Florida-friendly yard reviews, providing feedback on how homeowners can incorporate more of the 9 Florida-friendly principles in their landscapes. Aline also writes for the Master Gardener volunteer newsletter, Roots to Shoots. She has judged the Greater Jacksonville Agricultural Fair Horticulture Show 3 different times. For about 7 years, she chaired the Garden Club's annual horticulture show held in conjunction with the Flower Show and Home Tour. Aline is a member of the Wildflower Circle of the Garden Club of Jacksonville, and we are so happy to have her with us today. If you have questions, please raise your hand, and we're going to ask Aline to repeat the question so that those who are listening on Zoom can hear it as well. And it's a friendly little close group here today. And if you are on Zoom, please put your question in the chat, and I will do the same and raise my hand so that she can call on me. All right, we have a whole bunch of cool stuff here about the horticulture show. So Aline, it is your turn to take it away.
Thanks, Denise. Thanks so much. Yeah, we
Get out of the way.
great show this year. Oh, thank you.
And then I got it all tangled up there.
We had a great show this year. I think we had 123 entries, And that included 11 from the youth group. So we're going to take a look at some of those in a short while, but I'm not here to tell you about the plants themselves. I'm here to tell you what the judges said when they looked at those plants, what made them prize-winning plants, okay? That way, if you think you'd like to can you hear me? If you think you would like to enter next year, then you'll maybe have an idea of what you're best going to do. Put this on there. Okay. Where's this?
You're right.
Oh, 2%. Thank you. Technically challenged. It's the top one.
To the right.
To the right.
There you go.
All right. So one of the things I did for the show this year was to recruit some judges. There were regular flower show judges that judge Florida, the garden clubs shows. This judging was a little bit less strict than that. We had 2 judges who were Rose Society members and judges. And we had a master gardener who's a judge in St. Johns County. And let's see, I think that was about it. But let me introduce you to them really quickly. This is the whole group. We had 6 judges and 4 clerks. Now, the clerks helped to put the ribbons on and write the comments and things that the judges had to leave a comment if they did not award a blue ribbon, okay? So on the left, you'll see me. Next to me is Shirley Tierlink. She's from the Rose Society. Amy Wilson is the one with the stripes going horizontally. And behind her is Sandy Dixon. She's in the Wildflower Circle. Amy is from the Garden Club at the beaches. And she's the judge there as well. In the middle there, in the jean jacket, is Sam Runyon, who's also in Wildflowers. And she does judging in St. John's. And behind her is Carolyn Stevens. She's also a judge at Ribault, at the Garden Club at the beach. Lauren Baxter, who's a judge, a pretty new judge. So she was actually looking forward to doing this. Next to her is Nancy Zatarain. She was one of the clerks. And right down in front there, it was interesting. This young woman joined our club a week ago, well, the week before the show, and she immediately volunteered. She's from Ukraine. She's been in the US for about a year, and she was trying to get out to meet more people, and she's delightful. We're so happy to have her. Her name is Alexandra, or Alexandra, I'm sorry. She spells it with an O. Okay, so the clerks cannot make comments about the plants, which is the only reason I stood kind of around, because I had a few plants in myself. Had to be careful not to sway anybody. So this just shows you how carefully they look at the plants. They spend a lot of time talking about them. This was the African violet exhibit, beautiful exhibit. So we're going to start out with the juniors. We had 11 entries, and they weren't quite as strictly judged as the others were, because we want them to continue to be excited about growing plants. So I think this was one of my favorite plants of all of them, including the adults. This was a hanging basket with rabbit's foot fern, and it was beautiful, just gorgeous. And that one got a blue ribbon. Now, what's nice about that one, if you look at the symmetry, it just stands out. And that's one of the things the judges noticed. And they could see the rabbit's feet. If you look a little closer, you could see them hanging over the edge of the pot. Okay, now this one was a bromeliad. And I think the first one was a young man that entered, I believe it was a young girl. And then the rest of the entries were a brother and sister?
2 sisters.
2 sisters, okay. I couldn't tell from the names. Anyway, they won all kinds of ribbons. This one you see here is the sweepstakes runner-up, I think. So this one won a blue ribbon, and then it won the sweepstakes being the most blue ribbons won by any one entrant. So this one came in second, it was the runner-up. Okay, this one was a blue ribbon, a little messy on the side, but the plant itself was gorgeous and well-rounded again, and very appealing to the judges. Now this one, usually you think of a Dusty Miller as being a little bit larger and a little bit more full, but this one was a junior, and it was a very healthy plant, well potted, and so it got a blue ribbon. And each of the blue ribbons, the children got the same prize. So blue ribbons brought you $3 each. Red ribbons, which is second place, $2, and white ribbons, third place, $1. The award of merit went to Cinder. And that's a little bit more money. I think it's $10. And this one won yeah, that's one of ours.
That's one of her plans.
Yes, and that's how she got the distinction. Very nice. And then the runner-up was Rika, her sister. So she got this one. That was a beautiful bromeliad with 2 shoots coming out. Just beautiful. The color was gorgeous. So that's what they commented on. All right, now we are here with the adults, right? So let me switch over on my notes and make sure that I've got those straight. And again, we're going to be looking at what the judges saw. These are the African violets. So this one was particularly beautiful blooms. It's not full of blooms, but it's the leaves are gorgeous. That's what they were talking about when they gave the blue. The flowers were very unusual. All right, this one won sweepstakes runner-up, which is the most blue ribbons, second place. But look at the flowers on that. And again, the leaves are all gorgeous and very much symmetrical. Okay, this one, another one, full of blooms. It had a little bit of leaf damage, but that was not enough to take away from the blue ribbon. It's gorgeous. And then this one won the sweepstakes runner-up. Most blue ribbons. Again, look at the flowers. The colors in the ruffled flowers are just gorgeous. Okay, there's one more. Let's see, I think I'm going backwards. Sorry, hit it wrong. That looked awfully familiar, you know? Okay, we didn't have a lot of begonias this year, but this hanging begonia was absolutely gorgeous and really caught the judge's eye. Look at the swirling colors in those leaves. They were huge. They were really big. Now, this is another begonia, but it was in a little hothouse kind of situation. And that, again, caught their eye, you know, the type of display that you bring. Sometimes they look at the pots, but this one was a hydroponic sort of view. Okay, the ferns didn't have too many ferns either, but here we go. Now, there was rabbit's foot fern that was in a pot. Was that the one we were discussing earlier, maybe, do you think? Okay, very pretty, very well rounded, very.
There were 2 rabbits.
There
were 2 rabbits.
Yes, yeah. And this one also won a blue ribbon. The one in the youth group was kind of my favorite of all of them. It was just gorgeous. And then, of course, you've seen these all over. These are the ferns that replace your asparagus fern, which is considered highly invasive. This is a yeah. To think a minute, what it's called. Foxtail fern. Yeah, and they make beautiful like borders on the front with your regular bushes. All right, succulents. That's my favorite. I grow a lot of succulents. The judges thought this one was kind of unusual. It looked like the side on the left was going to get out of the pot. They don't necessarily look just at symmetry, but this one really caught their eye. This one did also. This was a very tall. I want to say it was about 2 or 3 feet tall, 2 feet tall anyway, and it had dinosaurs in the pot. Again, caught their eye. And of course, this is one that you can grow in a pot, or you can put it out as a ground cover, and in the spring, it will have beautiful yellow flowers. It's a sedum. There's another, it's a Hiawatha, and looks like zebra stripes on the leaves, on the branches. They like this one because of all the little babes that were coming out on the side. This cactus was outstanding. Another one trying to get out of the pot. They said that a couple of times, but it was interesting how that one was sort of rolling to the side. Now, this was one of my favorite succulents of the day. That one is a wispy, let's see, I have to look to be sure I get it right. I'm sorry. Oh, fuzzy cactus, snow fuzzy cactus, appropriately named. It looked like somebody took cotton balls and just ran up and down those the thorns on the cactus. It was beautiful. Okay, this one is heart vine, and it is a succulent, and it was very long, and the judges were very impressed because it probably took a very long time. Succulents don't grow very fast, so it probably took a very long time to get that long, and they were very impressed with that. Okay, this is one of those cacti that sort of grows its own way and has all the different shapes and turns as it grows up, and they really commented on that one for that reason. Most of your succulents, people put the stones in there. Just looks more like the desert, I guess. Okay, this one is Jacob's Ladder. It's a little bit like some of the other succulents you see that are variegated. This one was very unusual. That's what caught their eye. Very unusual. This is a cucumber cactus planted in a head. It was attractive and very healthy looking. And this is another kind of succulent, which escapes me at the moment, but it had a lot of leaves and it was just drooping all over the place. It was interesting. They liked it. This was a Christmas cactus. Now, what I've seen Christmas cactuses a lot larger than this, but this is one of those, the colors is the key there. It was the newer color, one of the lime green colors instead of the dark green leaves. Okay, now you know how to pronounce that? Somebody said bromelates. It's kind of like it's medicine. And I used to say that, so I have to admit to saying having the wrong pronunciation. It's bromeliads. These are really hardy plants that I put in the ground in my house, and they're beautiful. Okay, this one has a bloom on it, and it won first place. And it just looks so healthy. It's all about the health. That's the only one they had. Orchids, but we had some gorgeous orchids this year, not very many. This one hung from the ceiling or from the bar, and the roots were almost to the floor. The flowers were gorgeous. But that one won a blue ribbon. This one also won a blue ribbon. That one in a pot. The blooms were huge. It's really gorgeous. And again, the color and the health of the plant was what got it the blue ribbon. We only had one entry. What's that? Oh yeah, they were huge. They were huge. And we only had one entry, but look at this one. They had put it on as a staghorn fern, you probably know that, had attached it to some moss on a piece of wood. A lot of people do that. If you plant them from a chain in your tree, it's going to get so big you won't be able to handle it after a while. I know the zoo has to have a crane to put it up and down when they have to take it in for the winter. But that one was outstanding. It was just gorgeous. Okay, now we're going to look at some interesting containers that the plants were in. It's both, but it's the plants that were judged along with the containers. So this one had the pointed, it looks kind of like the mother-in-law tongue, but it's rounded and pointed. And let's see if I can find the name of that one for you. I think it's something I can't pronounce. I have that one at home and I really like it. It's an outstanding plant. Okay, this is a croton, I think. No, not a croton, a tea. And look at the container. Is it gorgeous? This one's a little terrarium with Selaginella, which is a fine little mossy plant inside. I have one at home that I don't think I've watered in about 6 months. You don't have to. It just keeps raining inside. You have to cut it sometimes, it gets so large. This is another one of those Hiawathias that's, I call them zebra plants, but in a really cool planter. That looks nice. Now this was one that none of us had seen before, not even the judges. It's, do you know it? It's called sundew, and this one is a pygmy sundew. And they originally had it over with the water garden plants, and it really wasn't a water garden plant, but it was outstanding. We looked them up, and there were just all kinds of varieties and colors that you could get. And that's one of the reasons it's got a blue, because it was so unusual. We did brand new and unknown to us. This one is a sweet potato plant. The container is a huge clamshell, and you can see it as you walk around the plant. But the plant itself is also very healthy. And here's an interesting one with succulents in there. I can imagine that cat is just waiting for a bird to land and get some water. Okay, the patio plants were huge, some of them. They had to be at least 18 inches tall, 18 inches? 36, okay, thank you. And this one's a fishtail palm. Very pretty. It's kind of hard to see it in that light, but looking up at the top, you can tell. That one is, I think that one is a croton. Very, very nice, very healthy. That's a powder puff bush. I had not seen that one before. I knew it existed, but I haven't seen one down here before. That caught the judge's eye immediately with the flowers. And there you have variegated hibiscus. Yes, let me go back. Again, the flowers were huge, huge flowers. And just the variegated was unusual. Okay, this one is gorgeous, just beautiful. And again, it's nicely potted. It's pretty big too, pretty big. It's an agave, yes. Sorry. And now this one didn't win a blue, but we had not seen a monstera with leaves that color. So that was very unusual. It would have gotten a blue, but it had leaf damage. You can see where they had to cut a good bit of the leaf on the right. And then it was clearly had some issues, but we just thought it was beautiful. The judges especially loved it. Okay, now for edibles, there's a rule in the rules that says if you're going to bring an edible like a fruit or something, it has to be attached to the branch and with leaves. Otherwise, you could go to Publix and buy a beautiful plant, a beautiful orange, and bring it in and put it in. So they want you to have that. Let's see what we got here now. All right, how about that one? Does it meet the requirements? Yes, and it got a blue ribbon. Now this one got a red. Could you tell me why it did not get a blue? Can you tell by looking at it? That one, I think, is a mango, but there are no mangoes on it. So it's an edible, but there's nothing edible on it. That's why it did not get a blue. You don't think about that. You've got a mango tree and, hey, I'm going to put that in with the fruits. I would have put it in with the patio plants maybe instead. Okay, this is a pineapple plant. Easy to grow. You cut off that top, stick it in the ground. Try to put some stakes around it so the squirrels don't get down there and eat the pineapple part at the bottom, and it will put in roots. It's a bromeliad, so it gets its food and water in the cup in the middle. But why didn't it win? A blue? No pineapple. It's a pineapple plant. It could have been put in with the bromeliads easily, and it would have gotten a blue over there. I think, yeah, you got to be careful that you got it in the right section. Okay, this is one of those hot peppers. And it won a blue. Holy moly. Holy moly, yeah. And that one I was told was extremely hot. Was that one of yours? Yeah. Okay. And there's some caps. Shishiko, but it's also capsaicin because it's a hot one. Beautiful, beautiful. And that's thyme. Right. Is it? Okay. Right. It probably is. The thyme leaves are smaller. Yeah. But it's, it's an herb and it's got everything it needs to be judged. What about this one? Yeah. It's got the sprout, the leaves, and unlike what you get at Publix, it's got the roots, all of it there. And that's another pepper. Beautiful. Datum, that's the one of the hottest I think we had there. No ghost peppers this year. And there was a key lime. Beautiful. Yeah, all the requirements were there. Okay, hydroponically grown. We didn't have very many of these. And I will say these two won big prizes last year. This year, yeah, okay. And this one won.
This one had not been.
It had not been entered before. Okay. So this one was a little bit overgrown. And I put it in there just to let you know that's why it did not get a higher ribbon. But it was beautiful. It had the pitcher plants. It had other kinds of plants that do well in the water. We'll see another one in a minute that won a big prize. Okay, all other blooming plants. We used to call this a flamingo tail. It's beautiful. The blooms are gorgeous. Let me get there and make sure I tell you what the exact name is. I can't get this to grow at my house. Brazilian plume. I think it needs a little more shade than I can give it, but it still has to have the sun for the blooms. Okay, this was a very popular plant back in the 60s and 70s. Swedish ivy. Do you remember? Y'all, those of us that were here in the 60s and 70s probably remember I had 2 or 3 of those at one time. And this was blooming and it won a blue ribbon. Look at is this a blooming plant? It's a snake plant, right? Can you see the bloom in the middle? There's a bloom right in the center going up. And it does have a pretty flower when it opens up. The cactus is blooming. They were very small, but they were gorgeous. Okay, all other foliage. This one is a rattlesnake plant. Kind of looks like the back of a rattlesnake, although I don't claim to know them very well. We have had them in our yard, unfortunately. But that's a gorgeous plant. It's got the under leaves are purple and the upper leaves are green, different shades of green, and very symmetrical. That's what got the judge's attention. Now, this one is the tractor seat plant. And this one was a little different because it's got those spots on it. At first, it was discussed maybe it was diseased, but it was not. That's the way it grows. The leaves are like this, like a tractor seat. There. Okay, we've got another succulent in, let's see, bromeliad succulent, yeah. And I think it was just for the foliage. This is whale tail. I hadn't seen that one before. I like that. It's pretty cool. And this one, oh, I have to look. African mask. Very pretty. And this one, don't pick that with your fingers. You'll get these tiny little, what do you call it? Thorns in your fingers, and it's hard to get rid of them. It's called a zigzag fishbone. But it's really kind of interesting. It's not beautiful, but it's interesting. And here is, hey, hold on a sec. I can tell you what that one is. Aglanomia. Again, very attractive. The colors are good, pretty well rounded. This is a flax lily. I have those in my yard and they seem to do pretty well. It looks really gorgeous. It has little flowers that are kind of nondescript. And this one is a black velvet alocasia. And the leaves look like velvet. That's why it's called that. And this one I know personally about. It was my aunt's. And she died at the age of 98 and about 10 years ago. And her daughter had the plant. And she said she was killing it. So she gave it to me. So we figure it's about 60 to 80 years old. Yep. Okay.
You need to have a category for oldest plant.
Oldest plant, heirloom plants, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, this was a gorgeous pitcher plant. Those are hard to grow. Another reason why the judges picked that one.
She was very proud of that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, so here come the top awards, the ones that won the big bucks, and there are some big bucks this year. There were some big bucks this year. Marie Merritt won the sweepstakes. She had the most blue ribbons. I didn't count them, but she had a ton of them. Something like that, yeah. She had a lot of plants entered. And this was one of hers. Beautiful. The runner-up was Christine Marr. She had almost as many. All of the African violets were hers. Found out later.
All but one.
All but one, okay. Anyway, that was Christine's, and she won the sweepstakes runner-up. The award of merit, which went to Dylan Eskridge. He's the orchid guy. So he got award of merit. That's a $10 prize. And the best of show was Cindy Powell.
Oh, no, yeah.
And that was a gorgeous, gorgeous, what am I trying to say? The kind of the philodendron, no, angel wing begonia. And it was in full bloom. It was just beautiful. Okay, now this year we had 4 new prizes. They were donated by local companies that deal with plants and gardening and so forth. And this one was Aura Plant Studio Choice Award. And that was hers. Beautiful, beautiful patio plant. And it was very, yeah. It was I've got something similar to that with lacy leaves on it, which is slightly different, but has the same variegation. Aurora? No, that's not it.
Aura.
Maho, variegated maho.
Aura Plant Studio is the.
Yes, yes. Did we have it back there? Yeah, Aura Plant Studio. So that was this one. I'll tell you in a minute what these 4 got. Liberty Landscape Choice Award was Gloria Salmon, and that was a ponytail palm. Beautiful. The Lush Leaves, that's another company, Choice Award, Billy Dorsheimer. There's the one that was in the hydroponic section. Had different plants that capture insects and demolish them. Beautiful plant. The Standard Seed and Feed, we all know that company. Choice Award went to Dylan Eskridge. Which one is he? The orchid guy. And he had some gorgeous ones. Now, before we introduce Stephen, guess how much those last 4 won? Each prize, $200 a piece. That is amazing. Makes me want to take my whole collection next year. So are there any questions about any of the plants or about any of the things that the judges were looking at? Can you see why they were judged the way they were? I showed you a few that were not blue ribbon winners. Most of the time we did have one that was not even judged because it had spider mites on it. Last year one had ants in it. They were crawling all over the table. So, but you got to make sure it's clean, it's fresh, it's healthy, and so forth. Yes.
What was your favorite of all the plants? Favorite kind of unique quality?
I really liked that one that was in the succulent person. That was the fuzzy one. Remember that one?
Yeah.
No, I don't go back. It was the one that had the 2 branches and it looked like it got puffs of cotton all over it. That was one of my favorites. And then the rabbit's foot fern that the youth entered was also a really pretty one. Anything else? Thank you so much. I hope each of you will enter something next year. And I'd like to bring up Stephen Stanton.
I don't know what the slides are, so I don't know if I need the clicker, but
Okay, well, you probably need this. You can hold it.
thank you all for coming. And thanks Denise for putting this together, and thanks for everybody that entered your plants. If you didn't enter this year, hopefully you're inspired to enter next year. So I'm a first year member of the Garden Club and a first year board member of the Garden Club. And so when I agreed to be involved as the chair for the horticultural competition, I was a little nervous. I think Denise could see that in my eyes. And she probably saw it in my eyes up until, I don't know, day 3 of the competition. So we were able to secure 2 local business partners who have been absolutely fantastic. So the first business that agreed to participate with us is Wild Birds Unlimited on Argyle Forest Boulevard. Incredible store. I have a lot of interest beyond plants. Birds are not honestly one of them. And after leaving their store, I can say that that is no longer the case. I now want to open a line of credit and spend about $1,500 on bird feeders for my property and just be a part of the migration. So if you really want to see some things that you didn't know existed and that you definitely need in your home, please go check them out. The other business is Proctor Ace Hardware on University Boulevard. We talked to Aaron and Kurt there, and they have been, I struggle to think of how they could be a better local business partner. They made 3 separate trips to the fairgrounds to bring plant matter out. If you've had a chance to go to the fair and you've seen our booth, it looks absolutely spectacular because of them. So we really want to thank them. Karen McCombs also agreed to let us use some of her AstroTurf for the booth as well. So we got all that set up and it, thank you, Denise. So yeah, this is what the booth looks like. So many thanks to those businesses. You can see the Wild Birds Unlimited section here. Very small. So the limitation here is I had to transport all this stuff in a mid-sized Volvo. So Wild Birds Unlimited has way more stuff than you see right there. I just had to fit it in my car and make it safely with their merchandise. So basically these 2 businesses gave us a blank check with their merchandise as loaner to set this up and help tell our story as an organization. And they did an absolutely phenomenal job. Also, and I think the pictures actually did a really good job of conveying this. It's really hard to convey a sense of scale in photos. That's one of the things that you encounter if you go look at art in museums. You see certain pieces and you say, wow, that's way bigger or way smaller, or in some ways different than I thought it would be based on size. The same is true here. So the quality of the entries here, mind blowing. I mean, really high quality. So if you have not been to the fair, it's worth going just to see this, to take some time to walk around. And lastly, we have our People's Choice Award. If that's how it's worded, I believe. So if you go to the fair and you are able to take some time and walk through, you can pick your favorite plant. Every ticket is individually numbered, obviously. That's how we conducted our judging. And so at the end of all of this, we're going to award the overall People's Choice Award. On one night, on Friday, Tiffany Davis and I were there. We probably had 85 plus votes conducted for the People's Choice Award plant. So, I mean, what a tremendous compliment if that's your plant, and it's a great thing to be able to give someone in terms of feedback. So if you did not enter this year, please do. I did it last minute. I was helping set up and I was like, man, I've got a couple of things that I think, now that I have some context. Hopefully you all have some context after this discussion. It's really great to be involved, and I just really appreciate the opportunity and want to thank Denise again for being able to be a part of this. And thank you again, Proctor Ace Hardware, University Boulevard, Aaron and Kurt, and Wild Birds Unlimited on Argyle Forest Boulevard. So both of those stores, there are multiple Proctor Ace Hardwares, there are multiple Wild Birds Unlimited. Those 2 businesses specifically really made this possible for us this year. And I personally am very thankful. It's made my life much easier. So thank you.
Thanks, when did we get cornhole?
That's one of my first purchases when I came to England. I thought, because everybody has cornhole and, I wanted to have something that we could put out at outreach events and that sort of thing to advertise the garden club. And what you can't see is that each of the little bags also has our logo on it. Super cute. So you see some children who are visiting the first day who are taking part in some cornhole games and our giant Shinka, which is also granted as well. It makes tons of noise, but it's super fun. I want to thank all of you for being here today. We have tickets to give to all of you and probably enough to give each of you multiple tickets. So go to the fair and enjoy. And I'm sorry if you're not here, that's, but you come next time, right? We do have a survey for you all to take, so please scan this code. If you are at home, scan it with your phone. We will send you the link afterward, but why wait till tomorrow, which you could do today. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Stephen. Thank you to Aline. They did so much work to make this happen, and we're so grateful. And have a great evening and have a great horticulture show. And don't forget to enter next year. Stay. Thank you. We're good. I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody here on Zoom. Say goodbye to everybody who's still on Zoom. Putting